Barry said to bring you back alive.
Don't try anything. Pick it up by the barrel. Give it to me. Make it fast!
You loved him as Cat Stevens, and you'll totally fall in love with him at his most beautiful as Django in 1968's Django, Prepare a Coffin. Now anyone familiar with spaghetti westerns is probably familiar with the original Django film, starring Franco Nero as the title character of Django. That came out in 1966. Now, he was originally cast to reprise the role of Django in this movie, but he was too busy at the time. So once again, similar to the way he got the role in God Forgives I Don't, the actor originally cast to play Cat Stevens couldn't do the role due to an injury.
I think I'll offer you what you so kindly offered me a year ago.
So a similar thing happened here, and he was cast as Django instead of Franco Nero. And you can see why they chose Terence Hill too, because he does look a hell of a lot like Franco Nero. There is a real similarity there, with the same deep blue eyes and everything. So back to Django, Prepare a Coffin, which starts off with a nice theme song. It's an animated-like intro with actual words in the song, similar to the first movie. It's a cool song too, and it carries out through the theme of the entire score of the movie. So yeah, once again, another great spaghetti western score. They never go wrong.
When things go wrong, so wrong your wish.
So this movie starts off with some politics of the Old West, where we find our hero Django working for this very blonde and very corrupt politician as a personal bodyguard whose skills are clearly not being wasted.
Better keep out of this, boy, because you'll find that it's hopeless.
Corrupt politician is our main villain of the film, as he is a power-hungry douche who robs gold shipments to fund his political career. And he goes by the name of
David Barry. Thank you, folks.
David Barry. Yeah, just regular old David. Not as catchy of a bad guy name as Angel Eyes, but okay, David Barry it is. Anyway, David offers Django a permanent role on his staff of cronies, which he turns down since he took a job transporting a local bank's entire gold shipment, which he regrettably mentions to David. Not smart.
I have to leave early tomorrow.
Oh, really? Usual job?
It's bigger than usual. All the gold at the bank at Empton. I'm taking to the head office to prosecutor.
Where?
Near Atlanta.
We cut then immediately to the gold shipment transport, where we find Django driving the wagon carrying the gold, as a few other armed men tag along for support. And then we see that Django brought his wife along for the ride, with plans to settle down together.
Hi there. My wife is coming. Think how nice it would be to have a wife, children, a fine ranch.
I mean, a risky move either way. Bringing her along when you know bandits like to rob shipments of gold, particularly in this area, and then kill all the witnesses. So, as you may have guessed, the gold shipment is ambushed by a band of thugs, led by a man named Lucas, who executes everyone in sight, including Django's wife. I mean, especially Django's wife, which Django himself witnesses before passing out himself, seemingly dead to everyone else. Only Django's not dead. He's the lone survivor of this little massacre. It's then revealed to us what you probably already guessed, is that Lucas works for David. and arranged this whole thing so he could steal the gold and, yep, use it to further his political career. Bang, total douchebag, this guy. So boom, cut to Django burying his wife. Yeah, this movie moves right along. And this is where Django dons his iconic outfit. I just love his coat and hat here. It's this combination that's a large reason as to why this, I believe, is Terence Hill at his most beautiful. And badass. That rockin' outfit. Then, boom again, we cut to 5 years later. Django is now working as a hangman.
The sheriff wants you to do some neck stretching for him.
Neck stretching! Neck stretching!
In your neck. If you don't jolly well shut up.
He's now been summoned to carry out the hanging of a man who's falsely convicted for another gold shipment robbery. Something that's becoming a real problem in these parts. Constant gold shipment robberies.
For 5 years now, they've been investigating all over the place to find out where the gold's disappeared to and who's behind the robberies.
Can you guess who's responsible? However, these random innocent men are getting it pinned on them by this same crooked politician, Blondie. Django then arrives to do his job as this, local town-to-town hangman. And he does it quick and efficiently. I can respect that, even if we are hanging people for a living. And then he does it again, as public hangings were a daily occurrence in the Old West, apparently. However, it turns out that Django's no ordinary hangman, as we see when he cuts down his latest victim that night to go bury in the cemetery, only to reveal at the cemetery as the grave is being filled that the dead man is not even really dead, and somehow Django faked the whole hanging. As the two bury an empty grave, Django instructs him to hide out in a small, out-of-the-way village he knows about.
Now you go 15 miles north to Mendes Ford. There's a deserted village. You'll find some friends.
Where he's been keeping other men he's also saved from false convictions and death sentences. So they all pretty much owe him, because he's saving their lives. So it's at Django's next hanging that we're able to see how he's been faking these hangings the whole time. Because I am a little curious about that. So while meeting with the prisoners to be hanged in their cell, Django fits them with a little harness that goes underneath their coat and saves them from certain death.
Now get into this. It's got a hook.
And then they just get hooked onto this harness. Looks like they're dead, but they're not. They kind of play along and pretend to be dead. Nice little scam. All of this unbeknownst to the townspeople and the locals, of course. So it's then that we see that Django's been doing this so he can build up his own team of men to help enact his revenge against Blondie, the politician David there, a gang to help enact his revenge on the shitbags that murdered his wife. And like I said, these aren't just random scumbags he picked at random, alright? Every single one of the men he saved were wrongly condemned men, innocent of any crimes that they were being hung for by the crooked politics of the local town. Django then instructs these men to go fuck with, but not kill, the people responsible for lying to get them condemned in the first place. And boy do they have fun doing this.
Go to their houses. Let yourselves be seen. I think you'll have a good time. Enjoy yourselves. They'll be scared stiff, but no killing.
As you would assume, wouldn't you? Somebody lies to get you false conviction to death, and now you have the opportunity to come back as a ghost in their eyes and fuck with them? Yeah, that sounds kind of fun, actually. So when all these thought-to-be dead men start showing up, it's really going to freak some people out, which is cool. That's the plan, though. That was Django's plan.
Alright, so Django, what you're saying is, you saved us from being hanged to death for a crime you know we didn't commit, but you expect us to just pay the favor back any way you say, no questions asked? I mean, it will clear us in the end of all the crimes we committed, and can live free lives and shit. So I guess that's fair. It does sort of seem like you just expect it, though. But okay, Django, since you saved me from an untimely death of something I never did in the first place, you're lucky you have that pretty face. Damn, I love them blue eyes.
And they do have a lot of fun kicking the shit out of these dicks and burning down their homes. So now when all these dead men start showing up, like I said, and wreaking havoc, suspicions do start to immediately arise, naturally.
Go see Lucas and tell him Jonathan Abbott is back from the dead.
They're all supposed to be dead and buried. 5 feet under, apparently.
Every one of them is buried 5 feet under.
Even though I thought it was usually 6. I mean, he even said 6 earlier in the movie.
6 feet under.
Why is this guy doing just 5? Just lazy? It's 1 more foot, buddy. Have some respect for the dead. Well, this guy Lucas doesn't seem like he cares about anyone but himself anyway. It's also about that time that everyone starts getting wind of this other gold shipment is coming through. It's supposed to be going right through town, and everyone's all ears, of course.
What is it? Tomorrow morning, a lot of gold will leave the mines at Las Cruces.
On the way to the bank in Santa Fe.
So then, one of the men that Django saved from the noose, a guy named Garcia, his wife is arrested in town for her connections to him and is very quickly sentenced to be hung. Now, an important thing here, this character's name, Garcia's wife, is Mercedes. Now, if you've seen the first Django movie, that might mean something to you. I'll talk about it later on. But yeah, they'll hang anyone at any time for anything in this town. So that's when Django's old man buddy delivers this bad news to Garcia, and very badly too.
Garcia, I got something real important to tell you.
What?
Forgot what it was. Garcia, I remember what it was now. Tomorrow they're going to hang your wife. Well, that's life.
Yeah, couldn't come up with a better way to break that news there, oldie?
Oh, hey, Garcia. Hey, there was something important I was supposed to tell you about. What was it now? Probably nothing. See ya. Oh, wait, I remember now. Your wife's gonna be hanged. Bye.
Alright, so knowing that David's men are definitely going to rob that gold shipment, Django instructs his own men to capture those men before they do this. Bring them to the local authorities and have them confess everything. Especially how that crooked politician David Barry is responsible for all of it. So Django's trying to be real civil about this whole thing. He's trying to do it the right way, without having to kill anyone. So it's sort of nice of him. However, Django can't go along with them on this little ambush since he has to go to town and rescue Garcia's wife from being hanged to death by using his little harness system. You think it'll fit on a woman? You think it'll fit around them boobs? It's designed for men. I mean, they just hang women in the Old West too? Jeez. I thought the first time that happened was the lady involved with Abraham Lincoln's assassination. But this would be after that. Immediately after Django leaves, Garcia, he decides that he doesn't really want to go along with Django's plan about capturing these men and turning them into the authorities. He wants to rob the gold shipment himself. Keep all the gold for himself and his buddies here.
I've been thinking it over. There's a load of gold out there that might belong to us.
Since opportunities like this don't usually come along for guys like this, that part is sorta understandable, but to screw Django over who's doing nothing but helping you up to this point, that seems kinda low of you, man. Garcia, not very nice. So everyone seems on board with Garcia except for 2 guys who he immediately bam bam guns down and no questions asked.
You should have done it, you dirty stinking Indian.
Wow, Garcia, you went from an okay guy to a greedy dick like that. Django saves you from the noose, then has the town to do the same thing for your wife, only for you to screw him over moments later.
Anyone else?
Not a great plan. So back in town, Django heads into Garcia's wife's cell to give her the harness and fit her with it. This is where we get to hear old man Insensitive talk about not being seduced by a woman like he knows anything about it.
So don't spend a lot of time looking at her or she'll try to get around you. Yep, that's women.
You can see why he's single. So now it turns out that one of the men that Garcia shot is not actually dead, just wounded pretty badly too. As we see him stumble away to go find Django and inform him of Garcia's betrayal. So while in town looking for Django, some of David's men, the politician, Blondie, spot this guy, the wounded guy, and recognize him immediately, since to them he's supposed to be dead. Hanged. This is one of those hanged guys. Why is he in town? should be dead and buried. But here he sits, mostly alive and well.
It's Pat O'Connor. The ghost of Pat O'Connor.
Shut up, you fool. Help me get him out of here.
A ghost suffering from a bullet wound? Get real, buddy. Then we cut to this pretty cool chase and shootout where Garcia and the men he didn't shoot successfully rob and steal all the gold from that gold shipment.
I love how we all went from innocent victims framed by society to murderers and thieves just like that. See? We were perfectly normal human beings until crooked politics turned us into criminals. Therefore, it's society's fault, and thus we must be a menace to it. Cheers. Onward and outward.
Bravo, Garcia. You did something right. It wasn't a good thing. But they did beat David's men to the punch, though, didn't they? That was their plan. So then, as Django and Garcia's wife are at the cemetery, burying her empty grave, they're discovered by David's right-hand man, that Lucas guy, the one who shot and killed Django's wife. And he's figured out that Django's the reason that these dead men are showing up, and that he's been faking this shit the whole time somehow. Django's able to get Garcia's wife, Mercedes, to get away, but he himself, though, is sadly captured. Brought back to town, to a barn, where he's beaten senselessly. So now discovered for what he's been up to, Lucas prized Django for information on where the hell the gold is.
Where'd they go?
I mean, they wanted to steal it first. You stole it before we wanted to steal it. Give it back.
You don't know anything. Bet you're in with Garcia.
So when Django responds with a silent treatment, he's beaten even more senselessly, nearly to death this time. They even crush his gun-firing hand. Then they were able to twist, I guess, even though this is what I thought you were supposed to assume, was that the whole time Lucas was working for David. I mean, they sort of already established that, but in this scene they sort of act like it's
Evening, David. You're getting old, Lucas.
But it's not really. It's not really a shock. He's our main antagonist after all. So he explains to David that the ringleader of this gang that stole the gold shipment before they did was a hangman named Django.
Goes by the name of Django.
Now this triggers an immediate reaction in David because he remembers Django. Unlike Lucas, who screws people over, kills them, and then totally forgets.
Who is it? Django. You idiot.
Django, have you always been alone?
So it's then that David heads down to the barn where they're keeping Django to pay him a visit for, I guess, old time's sake. Maybe he can get the information out of him, but I doubt it.
Yes, Django. It's me.
So yeah, he goes into the classic taunting of the hero speech, in hopes of getting him on your side, so he'll tell you where all your precious gold is. And we'll let you live.
If you help me recover the gold, 1/4 will be yours. My wife's life was worth a lot more.
That was an accident.
Yep, a real greedy-ass politician douchebag of the old ways. As if Django's gonna turn at this point. You killed his love, and you tried to kill him. He's been planning his revenge for 5 years.
She was a woman.
Why worry? There are plenty of others like her.
A-hole. So unable to get him to talk either, David leaves and gives his men instructions to beat him up for a little bit more, and if he doesn't talk then, kill him. Could just do it now, but no, more movie needs to happen. And it's a good thing too, because you don't want to see these dicks win. But then thankfully, Django is not the only person in town who's not a useless coward or a horrible villain. And that turns out to be the old guy and Garcia's wife, who come up with a plan to rescue Django and quickly nurse him back to health. And I mean quickly, with a bucket of water, by simply having him dip his face in it slowly. Because that's the cure to a massive beating. But it does work, however, and he kills the first 2 cronies' ears, without even really looking. Bang, bang, bang! Easy there, Django. I could be the mailman, or a door-to-door salesman. Land shark, who knows? The old fart then loads up Django and himself with an arsenal of weapons so they can take on the whole town, but mostly political blonde douche guy David Barry, and his crony of a sidekick Lucas. Lock and load. And boy, they give it to him too. A huge gun battle erupts, and the whole friggin' town is set ablaze.
That must be him. Quick, get the men together. Fire! Come on, let's go.
It is glorious. And this is where the final showdown between Django and Lucas takes place. If you want to call it a showdown, no one's really shot.
Lucas!
Django even has to remind this dope of who the hell he is.
Lucas, remember 5 years ago? A shipment of gold from the mine. A wagon, a man, a woman. She was my wife. You killed her.
Before killing him by simply letting him catch on fire and burn to death. In thus fire. Oh, nice. I guess he had it coming.
Come out.
So then we go back to Garcia and the rest of Django's gang who have betrayed Django and are now looking for a place to hide out and stay low for a while, I guess. And that's when Garcia decides that he wants to take his cut, break off from the rest of him, go back home so he can be with his family.
Wait! I will not go with you. I want to get my family. I want also to cross this river, but not alone.
Now, we all have wives and children, too. We'll just have to think about them later.
I have made up my mind.
And the others don't stop him from doing this either, even though it seems like for a minute they're going to. I mean, you sort of expect them to in a movie like this, but they don't. They just let him go.
You know, usually somebody says something like, hey, you can't do that. You can't bail out on us now. You started this whole little insurrection douchebag. And now you just want to bail out and go home? You should have thought of that shit before. Fine, let him go. Farmers don't give a shit. As a matter of fact, I'm bailing the hell out of here too, guys. I got a bad feeling about this shit. Hey, Scotty. Scotty, get me the hell out of this movie. Now. That's right.
And they probably should have killed him for it. Because after believing Garcia is gone, they continue on their way, like they were before. And Garcia immediately returns in ambush form and just starts shooting everybody. He kills every damn one of them, too. If anything, they were the only friends he had left. I mean, how deliciously violent of him, right? I'm not so sure about this guy Garcia anymore. He's a bit of a self-serving double-crosser to everyone he meets. So now, with Lucas being a useless, burned-up corpse, David hires another guy to go out, capture Django, and bring him back to him alive. I mean, he still wants to know where that gold is.
The local hangman calls himself Django.
It's him you want?
Yeah, alive.
So killing Django right now is still off the table. Yet he wouldn't talk before, yet... So what makes you think he's going to talk now? So then, Django, with the help of Garcia's wife, try to track down Garcia so that he can get this damn gold back. And it's about then we get one of my favorite scenes, if not my favorite scene in this whole movie, when David's new hired hand makes himself known to Django. Who taunts him for a bit. Only Django kicks all of their asses and shoots David's new guy right in the face. Pow! He's still screaming even after getting shot. Ouchie. Damn. That's near ultra violence for 1968. I would think anyway. Even though there's no blood at all. Nice move though. I like it. I know sometimes violence is entertaining. I mean, this guy was sort of so confident that, oh, I can take this guy. Nope, he blew your face off. He probably would have done the same to him. And finally, with Garcia's wife's help, Django finds Garcia. little reunion here. Django tries to deal with him peacefully, but ends up having to shoot him anyway. Only a flesh wound though. He's that good a shot. And although he feels betrayed by Garcia, all Django really wants at this point is to know where the gold is and give it back. Just give it back. So then Garcia's wife, Mercedes, goes to David, claiming to know where the gold is. So later, David shows up at the Garcia's place, claiming to be alone. Garcia himself is there too, and agrees to show David where the gold is in exchange for cash, paper dollars, his cut, in money form. Paper money. You can use that better, I guess, in the Old West. So then Garcia proceeds to take David to the cemetery, where we find Django's already there, digging a grave. Hard at work, Django. He always is. And he even asks whose grave he's digging.
Whose grave are you digging there? Yours.
Figures. I don't know he was going to say that. But in the end, all David really cares about is that gold, his precious political career. Gotta be the next blonde douchebag, like Django here, who's blonde awesomeness. And all Django cares about is his violent-ass revenge against this guy. So who do you think's gonna win? We're taking bets here. Huh? I know. A lot of it is predictable. But I still think it's a great spaghetti western. And an awesome follow-up to the original film. But all good spaghetti westerns must come to an end, and here we are at the final showdown. It's all been leading up to this. In a cemetery. Again. These spaghetti westerns love ending in cemeteries. Especially Django films. And it's clear now at this point, Django has no intention of cooperating with David. And just handing over his stolen gold to this guy. So he can go be more of a corrupt politician. David seems to think that Django should just forget about the whole killing of your wife and many attempts on your own life. It's all in the past. Stop living in the past, Django.
Why don't you just forget that old story forever and get on with things?
So realizing that violence is the only answer, once again, David takes a shot at Django. Only Django's too fast and shoots his gun away. Then this alerts all of David's remaining cronies, who all show up at once over the hill behind David. Clearly they were there the whole time, and David probably had them following him at a close but safe distance until they were needed. Or was just good timing in other parts. But I don't. David then tries one last time to convince Django to join up with him.
I'll let you have half of it.
But clearly, you idiot, give it up already. Django ain't joining up with you. You murdered his love, douche. You're a nut. You need to go down. So he then orders Django to go back to digging his own grave.
Dig.
As his men slowly move in for the kill. Then, stunned by what a beautiful bastard Django is, with his piercing blue eyes and rock-jawed good looks, equipped with that badass outfit, they wish him the best and all go their separate ways. Nah, I'm just kidding, of course. That's not what happened, obviously. This movie's proven that nice things like that don't happen. David actually then readies his men for the kill.
Ready, boys?
When Garcia makes a final and desperate and first selfless move by trying to save Django, only to get gunned down at the snap of David's fingers. Well, that was stupid. But thanks, Garcia. You redeemed, I guess. May God be with you. So then Django goes back to digging, as he reveals that the grave he's been digging up already has a coffin in it. Huh. And inside that coffin, you may have guessed at this point, the must-have Django accessory that we've all been waiting for. A fully loaded and ready to go Gatling gun, baby! And he uses it to mow down every last one of David's bad guys. And I mean every one of them. Including David, of course, too. Forget about that dick. Only in this movie, the Gatling gun doesn't make its appearance until the end of the film. In the first Django movie, it shows right up pretty early on in the movie. And he did it right away. And it was awesome then, and it was awesome now. violent shootouts are awesome, but it's usually people getting killed or people who are asking for it to begin with, and you're kind of glad to see them getting violently murdered, because they would have done the same to you, no problem, for no reason. So it all works just as well in this sequel, in my opinion. Even though a lot of it's the same stuff, that was fucking awesome. Sweet ass revenge. I love it. I mean, he just massacres these dicks. And like I said, to be fair, they did intend on killing him. So then after all this is done, Django rides back to the Garcia's place all sexy and cool like, where we see the now widowed wife of Garcia with her young child. It's sort of sad at this point since we know Garcia's dead. He wasn't exactly the best dad. And Mercedes, who always looks depressed, can already tell just by looking at Django that Garcia got his ass killed, didn't he? Django then gives her a bag of what I assume is Garcia's cash cut that David gave him earlier. He then sort of just says, "See ya," hops on his horse, and rides away to that same awesome intro song. Only to remain alone. Is his true love dead and gone?
Sometimes you wonder why a man like you must keep his pain inside.
Django can never love again. So sad, really.
I know it's hard to be alone.
And that's it. Fine. Movie's over. Get out. Go and watch the 1986, I think, film Django Strikes Again, in which Franco Nero himself returns one last time to play Django, only much older now. Those two movies are nearly 20 years apart. Which moves me right into my final thoughts on Django Prepare a Coffin. So even though Franco Nero did do a sequel like 20 years later, I still consider this the superior sequel. If there's an official one that you're going to say, because there's a lot of Django movies out there, there really is. But this one's the one, I've actually seen this one more than I've seen the original Django movie. Terence Hill was great, and the movie moved along quickly. I thought it was really easy to follow. Basic story again. And yes, the violence and the action were great too. It was violent but not bloody at all. Not like nowadays. Like Quentin Tarantino's Django, which I also think is a good movie. Just very bloody in comparison to this. And this one didn't need to be. Django shooting that guy in the face was just fine the way it was. I love that. I know, guy getting shot in the face, I'm saying I love that, but you know, it's in the context it was in. And one thing that you will notice is the overdubbing of the voices, as usual. I mean, anyone watching Italian cinema translated into English, even though it's noticeably there, as we see again with whoever's doing Terence Hill's voiceover in this one. But in the end, this just adds to the spaghetti western vibe that you get used to and grow to expect. It almost wouldn't be the same without it. Now, one thing I could not figure out was if this was a sequel or if this was a prequel. Garcia's wife is named Mercedes. In the original film, Django visits this grave of Mercedes, who they don't really explain who exactly she is. And he even mentions how he had a wife who's dead, and things like that. That all this happens in this movie, which was made after. So they're not really clear. Some people, they call it a sequel, but it feels more like a prequel if you follow the story and the character names. And like, is this the same Mercedes that's buried there? I mean, I'm going with that. Yeah, I heard a theory that Quentin Tarantino had in that whole thing. It was interesting. It's on YouTube. You can look that up if you want. But you know, if you go by this movie, it seems like it's a prequel. But like the years are hard. Trying to get the time period, like on the graves, is usually the best way to figure out what year these movies are taking place around. It's got to be after the Civil War. You always know that. And there's a telephone at one point. So. And finally, before I go, I want to leave you with one interesting fact about this movie. The 2007 song "Crazy" by Gnarls Barkley. You may have heard this. I'll play it. If I don't get a copyright thing, I'll play the song. If I do, I'll have to take it off and repost the whole damn video, but I'll give it a shot. I'll play a little bit of the song so you can hear what I'm talking about. If you listen to this song, you can hear parts of the score from this movie, Django Prepare a Coffin, in the background of this song. They take snippets from the score and use it in this song. It's there. It's subtle, you can hear it if you know the movie. It's there. Sort of like a background ambience. I thought that was cool, how spaghetti western music is vastly appreciated. Even if you don't watch spaghetti western movies, you can appreciate the music. Like how you're always hearing the Ecstasy of Gold from The End of the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You hear that a lot. Commercials, people have done. Metallica did a cover of it. I mean, it's popular enough. Even if you've never seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Well, that's it for now. I'll be back soon with my review on Boot Hill, which I'm working on right now as well. That's the third and final installment in the Cat Stevens and Hutch Bessie franchise. The Calizzyverse finally comes to an end. The final ride of Cat and Hutch, I guess. So until next time, folks, adios. And I'll see you at the movies. With the success of the original Django and the moderate success of Django Prepare a Coffin, other Italian filmmakers started farting out westerns and just slapping the Django name on them, hoping that would get people in the theater to watch it. Here's a few of those titles. Django Kill, ... If You Live, Shoot, ! 1967. Django Strikes Again, 1987. New Django, 1968. That's right, a sexploitation film with the Django name on it. Django the Bastard, 1969. Django Shoots First, 1966. Django Kills Softly, 1967. Django Does Not Forgive, 1966. Hallelujah for Django, 1967. And yes, that's just some of the knockoff Django movies that followed the original Django. And boy, they did this a lot. Throughout the late 60s and into the early 70s. Almost as if there was a machine that could generate a new Django movie every week. And that's exactly what we did. Now, available to the public for the very first time. The Django Movie Generator. Finally, you can rest easy knowing that you'll never be without a Django movie with a wacky title. Like... Django, fetch me a pistol and a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 so I may drunkenly start a gunfight. Django, could you get a coffin ready, since more than likely you will kill somebody? Django, go get killed, then come back again. Django, duck, or you'll get killed as an innocent bystander in the crossfires of life and death, amigo. Django, you're my knight in shining armor and I love you. It's easy, just plug it in, turn it on, let it warm up, then hit generate. And watch with quiet awe as it generates a brand new Django movie. Right before your very eyes. And enjoy the fun while it lasts, cause with each use the titles get wackier and wackier as it runs out of fresh ideas. And go out and get your credit card fast, cause you don't want to be the only bloke on your block without the Django Movie Generator 5000. Only 700 payments of $49.99. Buy it today or die! Howdy folks, Farmer Spaghetti here, and boy have I got an invention for you. So allow me to demonstrate. Think you're gonna love it. The Django Movie Generator 5000. Ba-ba-da-ba! That's right folks, you heard it. This little doohickey can automatically write, direct, film, and forward out a new Django movie on VHS. Just watch, I'll demonstrate. First, you turn it on. Ooh. Yep, just let her power up a little bit, and then simply push generate. And there you have it. Brand new Django movie on VHS. Check that out. The hell? Well, Django, go get some bread, ... Please. Yeah, well, with each use, the films get a little lazier and lazier. After about 500 Django movies, even a computer runs out of ideas. Let's try again. Huh? What's this? Nope. I'm tired of farting out Django movies, you unoriginal bastard. Come up with your own ideas. Grudgingly yours, the Django Generator 5000. What the hell? That ain't right. Well, next thing you know, this thing will be going on a writer's strike.
Wait a minute. I got an idea. I'm now telling the Django Generator 5000 that if it gives me another Django movie, I'll gladly share with it the movie's profits. Generate. What's this now? Another piece of paper. Here we go. What would a computer do with a lifetime supply of money, which this movie wouldn't make anyway? Well, well then. I'm not telling the computer exactly what it can do with a lifetime supply of money. You piece of shit.